William Whalen here for GetMoreSports.com, and we are ready for high major conference tournament action. I can't wait, and I'm sure you guys are eager to see what happens this week. Championship week is always one of the most exciting weekends of the season. For some, even as exciting as the NCAA tournament itself. And right now we're going to look at the ACC, obviously one of the top conferences in America. Dynamic players, dynamic coaches, really a powerhouse conference if there ever was one. But the conference tournament looks a little bit wide open to me. I know a lot of people are picking Duke to go all the way, but I'm going to break down 4 players and what they mean to their teams and why they could perform well, why their programs could, of course, win the ACC tournament title. First up, I'm going to look at the top-seeded Virginia Cavaliers. Tony Bennett's group obviously wins the conference, but they're without Justin Anderson, who of course went down with an appendectomy after recovering from a hand injury earlier this season. If they are going to win this tournament, they need big-time performances out of point guard London Perrantes. He's so steady with the ball, he doesn't turn it over. He can score when he needs to, but that's not really his forte. He's great at getting everybody involved. And if he spreads the ball around, finds people in the right position, and adds a little bit of playmaking for himself, I do think Virginia can go on a run here. So I think London Perrantes is a name that you have to keep an eye on. Moving down the seed line, I want to talk about Duke. We all know Jahlil Okafor, of course, a name that is going to perform night in and night out and is going to be key for them if they want to win the conference championship. But I'm going to talk about Tyus Jones. The freshman point guard from Minneapolis has been a stud as of late, really coming on as the year has progressed, turning into a better defender every game. And of course, he's deadly from beyond the arc, and he's creating his own offense off the bounce more than he ever has. Duke, with him at his best, is so absolutely unbelievably dynamic offensively. When he's going, they are the only team, in my opinion, that really can just drill Kentucky from the outside consistently. I mean, if they match up 10 times, I think the Kentucky guards are going to have a lot of trouble with the Duke guards 10 times out of 10. And Tyus Jones playing at his best is a big reason for that. I do think he's going to have a big-time ACC tournament. He's a guy who likes to rise to the occasion. And if he plays well, I think Duke has to be the favorite here in this conference tournament. Moving further down the seed line, I want to talk about Jerian Grant, a guy that we talked about so much this year earlier when Notre Dame was on their big-time run. Of course, they get a big-time win over Duke at home, and since then, they haven't made quite as much noise. Now, Grant is still an All-American type of player. If the Notre Dame Fighting Irish want a chance to win this tournament, he's going to have to be the same kind of dynamic guard that we've seen flashes of this year. He's got to attack the rim, he's got to knock down shots, and he's got to be a menace defensively. If they match up with Duke, whether they put him on Quinn Cook or Tyus Jones, I think you got to put him on Tyus, just because I do believe Tyus is a bit more dynamic than Quinn Cook when they're both at their best. And certainly either one of them are going to have a hard time with Grant when Notre Dame is on the offensive side of the ball. So definitely got to keep an eye on Jerian Grant. And finally, looking at the Louisville Cardinal, a team that was in the top 5 for a lot of the early parts of the season, of course, has dropped out of the top 10 from time to time. They get a big late season win over Virginia with a last-second jumper. But really, the guy that I want to talk about with the Cardinal, we know Montrezl Harrell, we know Terry Rozier, Wayne Blackshear has to be huge. Wayne Blackshear has to step up for this team. When he goes offensively, he gives such a different dynamic for this team because he gives them that third option. He gives them the third force in their big three of Rozier, Harrell, and Blackshear. If he doesn't play well, I don't think Louisville has a chance to make a run here simply because they don't have the horses. But if he catches fire, starts knocking down his threes, starts getting to the free throw line, Louisville could be a team that sneaks up on somebody like Duke, sneaks up on a Virginia, overtops a North Carolina. They certainly have the guys to do it. They have the coaching to do it. They have the experience to do it. But they're definitely going to need Blackshear to step up and contribute if they want to make a serious run and increase their seed potential for Selection Sunday.